Is Kim Kardashian okay? People are asking, where are her organs? Kim Kardashian has officially out-Kimmed herself. Again, the internet is spiraling over her latest look, this time not because it's jaw-droppingly fabulous, but because, well, people genuinely want to know, where are her organs? So let's set the scene. Kim steps out at the Balenciaga Couture show in Paris looking like a walking sculpture. Not even exaggerating, she's in a black corseted dress, so cinched at the waist it looks like she left her internal organs in the Uber. Her waist non-existent, her ribs probably on vacation, her posture somewhere between Barbie and Beetlejuice's kind of shrunken head guy. Naturally, the photos of the outfit hit the internet and TikTok went full detective mode, and by detective I mean everyone turned into Grey's Anatomy interns trying to figure out where her spleen might be hiding. One person straight up asked, where are her organs? Another said, sis doesn't have lungs anymore. And look, they're not being dramatic, okay? I mean, maybe a little, but the dress truly looks like it defies basic biology. Some users even started referencing, vintage Kim. Like, remember 2008 Kim, Calabasas Kim, back when her waist actually had room for a pancreas and a functioning large intestine? I mean, fans are comparing that to now and wondering how we got from there to this alien-waisted Balenciaga bot version. And it's bad when people start genuinely getting worried. I mean, one comment read, "This is terrifying, it's gone too far." Another person said, "This should be illegal." I mean, the concern isn't just about aesthetics anymore, it's about the pressure these extreme looks place on people watching, especially young girls. When the most famous woman in the world is walking around looking like her ribcage got vacuum sealed, I mean, people are going to question their own bodies now. And that's not a flex, it's a problem. Now let's talk about the designer of the day. Balenciaga, the same brand that once made $1,800 platform Crocs and sent models down the runway looking like glitchy Sims. Their vibe has always been fashion, but make it confusing. And Kim, I mean, she's their muse, but this look, took high fashion into Hunger Games capital territory. This is not Kim's first time with cartoonish proportions either. Let's not forget 2019 Met Gala when she wore that, muggler wet look dress. She later admitted that she could barely sit or even pee in it. Like, that's a red flag, right? If your dress comes with a bladder warning, maybe fashion has gone too far. And before the trolls start crying jealousy or it's just a corset, let's remember, even corsets have limits. This isn't about hating on Kim's body. Kim's body is hers to sculpt, train, surgically enhance, whatever. But when your body starts to look physically impossible and people can't tell if your waist is edited or surgically reshaped or literally being held together with prayer and Balenciaga thread, people are going to talk. And let's not pretend this doesn't influence the masses. Kim's not just another influencer, she is the influence. When she steps out with a 12-inch waist, thousands of people rush to waist trainers and sketchy shapewear sites hoping to replicate the look. Except most bodies don't work like that. Most lungs actually need space. Most organs don't, vibe with compression to that degree. It's not hate, it's basic anatomy. It's also worth pointing out that Kim didn't post many full body shots of this outfit herself. That's unusual for her. Usually if she's wearing something that makes the internet collapse, she's posting angles, slow-mo walks, 4K reels, this time crickets. That has people wondering, did she Photoshop it? Is the waist real? Are we being trolled? Is this AI? Or are we just seeing the final boss of Kardashian contouring? At the end of the day, Kim Kardashian is gonna Kim Kardashian. She's built an empire off breaking the internet and warping beauty standards, but maybe, just maybe, this latest look is less of a fashion serve and more of a health scare in couture form. Because when the collective response to your outfit isn't "she looks amazing," but rather it's "where are her kidneys," it might be time to loosen the corset. Khloé Kardashian is taking a lot of heat and she's not even in the kitchen. Nope, this backlash comes from a few feet away, her pantry. Khloé Kardashian has officially released her latest business venture, a protein popcorn brand, and posted a video tour of her massive pantry to promote it. However, it did not go over well. She posted a crib-style video of her pantry, which is the size of a car garage. I'm not exaggerating, guys. The pantry was formerly a garage before being converted into a pantry crib. As a small apartment renter, I stash my canned goods, chips, and protein bars wherever they'll fit. Honestly, I dream of the day I could have a stockpile as big as hers, but my love and admiration may be amongst the few that's actually happy for the reality star. Now, in honor of releasing her new Cloud protein popcorn, the reality star shared a pantry tour video on social media with bags of her popcorn filling the food pack space. Now, this isn't the first time she's shown off her extremely organized pantry to give her viewers inspiration for how to sort things. Still, this time around, she received a lot of backlash. as internet users said the video was ridiculous and just out of touch, given how expensive groceries are these days. Not only is her pantry massive, it's also stocked with the most eclectic assortment of foods. Now, there's an army of olives, apparently reserved for Kris Jenner's martinis, and a mind-boggling number of snacks, raisins, nuts, and all those, healthy things. She also had a very large bowl of fresh fruit and 2 walls, basically shelves stocked explicitly with bottles of high-end sparkling water. Now, at the start of her video, she says, "This is where all the magic happens." And yeah, I believe it. Honestly, the vibe is somewhere between a farmer's market and a Saks Fifth Avenue, which, to be fair, was her goal. Now, according to the video, Khloé wanted to recreate a mini grocery store inside her pantry, which, if we're being real, feels just a bit gluttonous. Now, fans think so too. Dozens of comments under her Instagram note that her pantry is a vulgar display of wealth and just excess upon excess upon excess. Now, many point out that there's no way she and her 2 kids can eat the amount of food stocked in the pantry before it expires. One person online said, "Pantry is amazing, however, why the need for all that food? People are starving all over our country, seems gluttonous." For many people, groceries are more expensive than ever, which is why watching, the Good American founder walk through her apartment-size loaded pantry upset many people, even if it wasn't supposed to be, this light-hearted video that her loyal fan base apparently requested. Now, when the video was uploaded to social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube, internet users of course flooded the comment section to let the personality know, that they were not pleased to see material like that from her. Now, another person wrote, "This is so over the top. Flaunting her wealth when people are literally starving and struggling to feed their families is just wrong." Someone else added, "So your pantry is bigger than my whole house?" Another person wrote, "I can't afford eggs and my fridge is empty." Internet users also went off on Khloé on other platforms like Reddit. One person wrote, "I hated this video. What's the point of this?"
Starting off, we have to talk about her infamous tape with her then boyfriend Ray J. Now, the tape was leaked in 2007 and it thrusted Kim into the spotlight, but for all the wrong reasons. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape, and in late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, many people judged her for this, and in 2022 there were actually rumors that there was a second part of the tape that was going to get leaked. Now, it was said this leak was done by Ray J, but years later he's spoken out and claimed that the famous family story was a lie. He said, "I sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim tapes and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look, which is honestly just so gross. Now, since then, Kris has denied being a part of the leak, but it really wouldn't surprise me if she actually was. Then there was the time in 2024 where she offended a lot of people with what she wore to a wedding. In July, Kim and her sister Khloé attended the lavish wedding of billionaire heir Anant Ambani and his fiancée in India. The sisters looked stunning at the traditional wedding, but for one of the events, Kim wore red, which is considered by some to break the Hindu wedding etiquette. Now, the color red is generally reserved for the bride, and it's often frowned upon for guests to wear red. It's practically like if you wore white to someone else's wedding in the Western world. It's a big no-no. Now, after sharing photos of her outfit on Instagram, Kim faced backlash from her followers who thought it was an inappropriate outfit choice and called out her lack of respect. Now, Kim chose not to respond to the comments, but fans were disappointed that she didn't research the culture beforehand to know what was acceptable. Controversy also arose when it was announced that Kim would appear on Variety's Actors on Actors. Now, Kim starred in one season of American Horror Story, which some fans didn't even like to begin with. Now, there was outrage, but Kim still did the interview, and she was partnered with Khloé Sevigny, who, like Kim, had also worked with Ryan Murphy. Although Khloé allegedly wasn't initially supposed to be Kim's interview partner, the interview itself went well. But viewers online online were offended that Kim was being called an actor though. Kim Kardashian's work on one season of American Horror Story does not put her on par with anyone on this list. She's nowhere near their level of talent and many accomplishments, one person said. Kim Kardashian, can we be serious please? While another chimed in, Kim Kardashian is not an actor. Now, a few fans even accused the star of paying her way onto the series. Real actors exist, why did Kim K pay to be there? Then there's everything with Taylor Swift. Now, she and Kim have a bad relationship because of Kanye West. Now, we all know that Taylor Swift and Kanye West have a history, and when Kanye released his song Famous, in which he calls out Taylor Swift by name, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex, why I made that be famous. Taylor Swift's reps shared a statement saying that Taylor was never made aware of the actual lyric "I made that be famous" in the song. Now later, Kim graced the cover of GQ and paired it with an in-depth interview where she discussed how Taylor had approved the lyric per a recorded phone conversation between the two singers. Kim then posted a video of Taylor and Kanye on the phone discussing the songs, which proved that Taylor was lying. Now the whole internet turned against Taylor, with Kim leading the hate train. But in 2020, the full phone call between Kanye and Taylor was leaked, proving Taylor was telling the truth and that Kim lied and edited the phone call conversation to make it look like Taylor was in the wrong. At the 2022 Met Gala, Kim Kardashian arrived in the iconic "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" Marilyn Monroe dress. She was granted special access to wear this as it is kept in a museum, but most of the general public didn't like this and thought that the dress should have been left alone. Besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. You see, the dress couldn't be altered to fit her, so she had to alter herself to fit into the dress. There was drama about how she lost her weight and whether it was healthy or not, but that got covered up though with another scandal, as it was claimed that Kim actually damaged and ripped the real Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, she denied it, but a Monroe collector is claiming that the dress has sustained permanent damage as a result. After Kim returned the dress, Scott Fortner shared photos of the dress taken that appear to show stretched and buckling fabric, along with missing crystals or ones left hanging by a thread, as it appears that Kim has damaged the dress, which is something that people were worried about, and it actually happened. Now, Kim had another scandal at the Met Gala too, where she wore a dress with a corset so tight her waist was pretty much invisible. I mean, it was so tight people were worried for the star, wondering how she could even breathe. People online were also angry though, because she was promoting yet again another unhealthy beauty standard. People were shocked by this and angered with the star. I'm not saying the media is to blame for young women's eating disorders, but Kim Kardashian crushing her organs to be thin on a red carpet sure doesn't effing help. Now, some celebrities also spoke out about this, like Jamila Jamil. She said, "The media has created a cycle of obsessing over Kim's body and teaching the public that this is the image to warrant attention and praise, and then they blame her for her impact on our beauty standards. She has no impact without attention. Who gives celebrities attention? The media and us," she said. Now, regardless, the look was crazy, and Kim shouldn't be hurting herself like that, just all in the name for fashion. Now, Kim hasn't had the best luck when it comes to love, because she once had a marriage that lasted for only 72 days. Yeah, she was married to Kris Humphries, and they made a lot of money with their photos and filming the whole experience on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Now, when Kim ended things though, Kris was blindsided by this, as he felt that they were truly in love, and he cited fraud as a reason for wanting an annulment. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles Fraud Court that Kim had no intentions of proceeding with this marriage, and if you look at the evidence, it seems to be true. Now, I honestly kind of feel bad for Kris and him going through all of that. Then there was the time Kim bought one of Princess Diana's necklaces at an auction. Kim snagged the diamond-encrusted amethyst Atala cross pendant famously worn by Princess Diana for $197,453 in 2023. Now, in November, Kim attended the 2024 LACMA Art Plus Film Gala, where she wore a dramatic white dress with a plunging neckline. Now, people called out Kim for wearing the necklace though, writing that it was weird that she would continue to wear pieces once owned by deceased celebrities, and they felt that she was trying to upstage Diana. Now, others called the move disrespectful. Some felt her wearing it with that dress was offensive to the religious symbol. Why are we still giving this woman precious heirlooms like Diana's necklace after she broke Marilyn's dress? Wrote one commenter on Instagram. And I mean, Kim has the money to do these things, but should she be allowed to do it? I don't think so. Now, Kim was also called out for doing blackface while promoting her beauty products. Now, afterwards, she told the New York Times, "I would obviously never want to offend anyone. I used an amazing photographer and a team of people. I was really tan when we shot the images, and it might be that the contrast was off. But I showed the image to many people, to many in the business. No one brought that to our attention, no one mentioned it." But people online had a problem with it.
Kim Kardashian is now contemplating a court request to strip ex-husband Kanye West of custody of their kids after new drama has unfolded, and fans are over it all. Kim is reportedly considering changing her custody agreement with West after he released a song featuring their eldest child, daughter Northwest, without her approval. Physical custody is reportedly not an issue, as the rapper rarely sees his kids, and Kardashian still wants them to have, a good relationship with their father. However, it's a different story when it comes to decision making for their kids. The former couple's divorce agreement reportedly states that they must attend a private hearing with a judge in the event there's a conflict regarding their children. However, after this weekend's debacle, it has become very clear that the rapper refuses to abide by the rules of their agreement. Kardashian requested an emergency hearing with their lawyers, a mediator, and a judge after learning West was planning to drop a song featuring their eldest daughter North and disgraced rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Now, although Kanye skipped the meeting, he reportedly agreed not to release the track titled "Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine." However, he went back on his word and dropped the song on X one day later, declaring that, men make the final decision. The rapper also shared a heated text exchange between himself and Kardashian, who made it very clear she did not want their daughter involved with the jailed Bad Boys record mogul. Kanye seemed furious about Kardashian sending him a cease and desist letter and trademarking their daughter's name, despite it allegedly being a decision they made together. He allegedly texted his ex-wife in the now since deleted upload, of course. The text said, "I'm never speaking with you again." However, Kardashian claimed they had agreed to trademark all of their kids' names when they were born so that no one else would take them. She replied saying, "I asked you at the time if I can trademark her name. You said yes. When she's 18, it goes to her. So stop. I sent paperwork over so she wouldn't be in the Diddy song to protect her." Kanye asked her to amend the legal papers or risk going to war. He also threatened her, adding, "And neither of us will recover from the public fallout. You're going to have to unalive me." So dramatic, I can't. Soon after, he went on a very lengthy X-rant like usual, accusing the Kardashian mogul of restricting, his parenting abilities and comparing their current custody agreement to visitations in jail. Messy, problematic, and chaotic. Fans are done with this drama. It's above them now. The Kardashian family launched a debit card with ridiculously high fees. Back in 2010, the Kardashians launched the Kardashian card, a very short-lived prepaid debit card so that fans could live, a life of luxury similar to the family. It was issued by the University National Bank, which actually later changed their name to Sunrise Bank, and they are known to issue prepaid cards with insane fees though. So yearly fees, monthly fees, card purchase fees, card replacement fees, ATM withdrawal fees, even a fee to just check your balance at an ATM. Who would want this? Nobody. Unfortunately, well actually fortunately, because the card ended up having these insane fees, including a $100 per year membership fee, and for very obvious other reasons, the card did not do well, clearly. You don't say. Now, Forbes actually described it as one of the worst financial products ever introduced ever. The family seemed to have missed the memo that not everyone could afford those kinds of fees for a debit card, and the Connecticut Attorney General even accused the family of unfairly targeting financially unsophisticated young adults. It took less than like a month for the whole thing to get shut down, which would explain why it's likely you, me, everyone else has not heard of it till now. When Kendall denied allegations that her modeling career was handed to her in many interviews, it officially made people hate her and turn against the catwalker. There's no doubt that Kendall works hard as a model, but she raised some eyebrows when she shared shared conflicting statements about the origins of her modeling career. While Kendall said she did everything she was supposed to do to get her to her current position in the industry, there's no denying the fact that her family status played a very big role in propelling her to being, one of the most famous models in the world. In fact, elsewhere in an interview, Kendall explains that when she was 14, she presented a homemade modeling book to her mom, and then she did her, Kris Jenner momager thing and made it all just come to life. Jenner has, modeled for designers including Karl Lagerfeld, Fendi, Calvin Klein, Chanel, so many others. In 2018, Forbes actually named her the highest paid model in the world. Kylie Jenner said she was self-made despite coming from a really wealthy and famous family. In 2019, Kylie Jenner was named the world's youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes, but a lot of fans had an issue with that title. Not only did the financials end up being a little off, but many people thought self-made wasn't an accurate title for Kylie, who grew up with immense wealth and privilege. Fans shared that it probably wouldn't have been possible for Kylie to start her business on her own if she had not had the platform her family had provided. Kylie later responded to critics, explaining that her parents, cut her off at a young age, so she had no financial assistance in starting her own business, blah, blah, blah. Kylie told Paper Magazine, my parents told me I needed to make my own money. It's time to learn how to save and spend your own money, stuff like that. What I'm trying to say is I did have a platform, but none of my money is inherited. Jenner has said that she credits her success to social media and her large following. Kinda true. She has said that she was able to advertise her products directly to her fans with little marketing expense. And just like her big sis Kendall, she has faced immense backlash for several reasons. Some honorable mentions include, lying about her net worth and exaggerating her role in building her cosmetic company. She's also been accused of cultural appropriation, just like her sisters, and of course she's faced a lot of criticism for promoting very unrealistic beauty standards and using Photoshop and editing tools on literally all of her photos and videos. Kim losing her diamond earring might have been in the first 5 moments fans started turning against the family. You know this one well, at least you should. Kim's then boyfriend Chris Humphries tossed her into the ocean, and her $75,000 earring was a casualty. The force of the throw caused a diamond earring, which was a part of a larger necklace, to actually come off and fall into the ocean. Kim had a significant emotional reaction to the loss, full-blown breakdown, crying and expressing her distress over the missing earring. Kim and her sister Khloé frantically searched for the lost diamond, even joking about where it might be. The earring was never found, and the incident became a viral moment on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kim Kardashian's Aaliyah Halloween costume had her fans turning against her immediately. The costume specifically recreated the look from Aaliyah's Try Again music video, which included a custom bra top and J brand leather pants. Now, many criticized Kim's costume, arguing it was insensitive and disrespectful to Aaliyah, who was a black singer and a cultural icon. Now, the social media mogul issued an apology after many Twitter users at the time called her Aaliyah Halloween costume offensive, right? In October of 2017. Kim actually wrote on her website saying Aaliyah was such an amazing singer and she will forever be a music legend. I saw online that some people thought my costume was in poor taste, and I am truly sorry if that offended anyone. We don't see color in my home. We were paying homage to people and artists we love and respect. It's that simple. Kim's designer debacle. Kimmy sparked, a lot of irritation from fans when she posted a now deleted video showcasing free goods she received from Dolce & Gabbana to her Instagram stories back in January of 2019. Followers were outraged by the post, with many pointing out that the controversial brand has come under fire multiple times over the years, most notably for a 2015 interview with Italian magazine Panorama, in which designing duo Stefano Gabbana and Domenico Dolce referred to IVF babies as chemical offsprings and synthetic children. That's wild. And to note off of that, Kim actually became pregnant with her second child, Saint, through IVF. So yeah. Dolce later apologized for, his inappropriate words, but the damage was done. Now, footage from when Kim told women in business they needed to get their bleeping behind up and work has completely turned her fans off, permanently. It's 100% easier to be successful when you're a Kardashian, but that seemed to have slipped Kim's mind when she dished out some advice to working women. Despite the fact that Kim was born into a very wealthy, well-connected family, skyrocketed to fame thanks to TV and that tape we won't talk about, she explained that she thought the problem with people in business was that no one wanted to work. Kim told Variety, "Get your bleeping behind up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. You have to surround yourself with people that want to work and have a good work environment where everyone everyone loves what they do. And while that is true, yes, you do have to work hard to reap benefits. It's definitely not as simple as that for people who aren't born into wealth and fame. Kim faced backlash from viewers, called her out for ignoring her upbringing's role in her success, and how many people do work hard but aren't even financially compensated for it. Now, despite this footage being a couple years old now, it still is being talked about today. I'm talking about it right now. It's still messy and people are still mad.
Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian, they essentially had the perfect life. Kris and Robert had 4 children together, they lived in a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, and Robert had a great job as a wealthy entrepreneur and lawyer. But Kris admitted that she felt that something was missing when she was introduced to professional soccer player Todd Waterman, who was 10 years younger than her. She became involved in an affair. Kris said, "When you're very young, you do a lot of stupid things. It's probably the biggest regret of my life that I ended up having an affair. I was probably just really naive and stupid and restless and didn't realize that marriage has its ups and downs. Sometimes people think the grass is always greener, and that was like what I think I went through at some point." The bombshell revelation first came out in her memoir called Kris Jenner and All Things Kardashian. Khloé later revealed that the affair destroyed her dad and it had a terrible effect on the family. For Khloé Kardashian and Lamar Odom, it was pretty much love at first sight. The pair tied the knot in September of 2009 after just a month of dating. But Khloé's only marriage unfortunately ended in disaster. Relatively soon into the marriage, it was revealed that not only did Lamar have a serious substance misuse problem, but he also admitted to being with countless other women during the relationship. The couple divorced shortly after he was found unconscious in a brothel. According to Lamar, dating a Kardashian is hard, so hard that it made him cheat on his ex-wife multiple times during their marriage. He said, "When I became Khloé Kardashian's man on TV, it made me look more enticing." As a result, he claimed, thoughts came out of the woodwork. "If there is one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do. I wish I could have kept my D in my pants." Next up, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. In 2015, Scott was spotted getting handsy with stylist Khloé Bartoli while in Monte Carlo. It wasn't long after that Kourtney announced she was splitting from the father of her 3 kids. Following the affair, Scott came clean to the family, saying, "I've apologized to Kourtney 100 times, but I've never apologized to all of you for letting all of you down and embarrassing you guys." So it was obvious that he had trouble remaining committed to Kourtney. The two broke up briefly after this incident and then got back together, but continued to have a rocky relationship. First, her sister, Kim, caught a girl hiding in Scott's bathroom in Dubai, and finally, the eldest Kardashian invited Scott on a family vacation to Costa Rica. He ended up sneaking a girl into his hotel room while he was trying to reunite with his ex. This final incident is what prompted Kardashian to tell Scott they were never ever getting back together. The reality star came under fire for promoting Flat Tummy Co.'s appetite suppressant lollipops to her millions of Instagram followers. She posted a picture of herself with the diet ad candy and wrote, "They're literally unreal." While Kim has posted sponsored ads for weight loss products before, things like meals replacement shakes, the whole appetite suppressant thing falls into a different, far more contentious category. The lollipops contain an extract from natural plants that is said to control cravings, food intake, and weight. But while the active ingredient is technically safe, many nutrition experts agree that appetite suppressants are a short-term, ultimately ineffective diet strategy that can promote harmful eating habits and aggravate already existing disorders. The fact that the company's product comes in lollipop form seems geared towards a younger consumer, which just makes it all the more troubling. Manhattan-based nutritionist Maria Marlowe criticized the move and said Kim is an incredible marketeer and brander, and many young women look up to her. But this is sending the wrong messages that being hungry is bad, that our bodies need to be controlled, and that the route to our ideal body comes in candy form. Not only that, but relying on a suppressant is a distraction from focusing on a healthy diet and exercise. It's not a great option in the long term. Although Kim is used to making questionable fashion choices, many felt that she sank to a new low when she decided to wear the famous Marilyn dress. This historical item was actually worn by Marilyn Monroe herself while she was singing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy in 1962. It was lent out to her by Ripley's Museum. Scott Fortner, a collector, shared photos of the dress in a blog post after Kim had returned it, which appeared to show stretched fabric and missing crystals on the back. Not only that, but while being interviewed on the red carpet, she said that when she first tried the dress on, it didn't fit her. So to ensure that the delicate fabric wouldn't tear, she dropped 16 pounds ahead of the event in order to squeeze into it. She then changed into a replica dress once she got to the entrance of the party because she couldn't walk walk up the museum steps of the Met Gala without ripping the original. But the fact she was even allowed to wear it was enough to anger fans everywhere. It was bought by Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in a 2016 auction for $4.8 million and is usually kept in a darkened, temperature-controlled vault at 40 to 50% humidity to preserve the delicate fabric. So of course, people were fuming that Kim permanently damaged the dress, especially because, when you consider the design of it, the fabric is literally irreparable. Kim's union with NBA player Kris Humphries has gone down in history as one of the shortest in Hollywood. This has led to some fans to question whether it was made for TV, specifically after the two-part E! special called Kim's Fairy Tale Wedding. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on the show. But in 2017, the reality star admitted to Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. It turns out that she only rushed into it because of the pressure of turning 30. There were also signs that their marriage was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple were spotted arguing in their car while they were out on a dinner date in Hollywood. They were photographed heading back to Kim's car, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving him the death stare while yelling and waving her hand. This very public fight was indicative that the relationship was on the rocks. In the divorce, Kris asked for $7 million of a settlement, otherwise he threatened to make Kim go through an ugly public trial. But he ended up walking away with literally nothing. In 2018, photos of Tristan having an affair surfaced online while he was dating Khloé. To make matters worse, she was 9 months pregnant at the time. Not long after, TMZ came out with video footage dating back to October of 2017 that showed the NBA player kissing two other random women at a club. Despite the fact that there was now hard evidence of Tristan cheating on Khloé, without really attempting to hide it, they decided to stay together for the birth of their child. But things did not stay smooth forever. In 2019, reports surfaced that Tristan had cheated on Khloé once again, this time with none other than Jordan Woods, who was a close friend of the family, seeing that she was Kylie Jenner's best friend and roommate. Anonymous party attendees told TMZ that the pair were all over each other and made out several times throughout the night. The explosive incident almost broke up the family entirely, and as a result, multiple relationships were ruined. Last September, Kris Jenner went on The Late Late Show with James Corden, where she was strapped to a lie detector and interviewed about the infamous tape that was released in 2007 of Kim Kardashian and Ray J. Kris denied the year-long speculation that she was involved in its production. Once the results came back, it seemed as though she was telling the truth. Of course, Kim kept up with this narrative too, but neither of them had expected Ray J to respond to the interview. He appeared on Instagram Live with a full presentation to prove that she was lying. He showed screenshots of text messages that Kanye West had sent him asking for the original tapes because he wanted to give them back to Kim. In response, Ray J said, "I got 2 kids and a tech company. Why would I involve myself in this? I'm so past this, bro. I'm assuming you know the full story from 05, right? How it happened, who brokered the deal, who put it all together, etc." This is when Ray J made the most shocking revelation ever. He said, "Kris Jenner is the one who made us shoot the second tape in Santa Barbara." He then claimed that Kris orchestrated the filming of the last tape and even watched them to decide which was best. Kim K came under fire when she bought the iconic cross necklace that was worn by Princess Diana for $197,000. 4 people competed in a bidding war, but Kim ended up winning the auction after 5 minutes. The amethyst cross is a 1920s pendant by a luxury jewelry designer, which Diana wore on many occasions. The cross-shaped pendant features large amethyst stones framed by a 5.2 carat diamond. After news of the purchase came out, Kim started trending on Twitter as everyone was jumping to create their own Kim Kardashian has purchased meme as a way to make fun of the historical artifacts she had bought. They have quoted Kim as saying, "I just did what needed to be done." Kim and Scott Disick are being sued for $40 million after they were accused of hatching a contest scam and fooling innocent people. The lawsuit alleges that the two created a fake lottery in 2020 and announced that the winner will get $100,000 and 2 first-class tickets to LA, as well as a 3-night stay in Beverly Hills, and they could shop like Kim. But turned out this was all fake. The filing claims it says that Kim and Scott worked with an Australian company, Curated, to sell the personal information of the players to advertisers. Apparently, the winners of the contest were announced, but their Instagram handles were quickly made private, which raised a few red flags. The people that did enter the contest and lost were then invaded by hundreds of advertisers, soliciting them with potentially offensive and unwanted content. However, the Australian company has said that the contest is legitimate and there is legal paperwork to back it. Both Kim and Scott have yet to comment on the lawsuit.
At number 10, Kim Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of the Kardashian sisters and also seems to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train. And that's all on top of filming their new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all that by herself? She pays people to do it for her, duh. Kardashian has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from her at all times. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, apparently she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she has had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. At number 9, Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a different grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. One time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to treat people, she berated the nanny, telling her she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because it makes sense to blame the woman you're paying to raise your kid instead of the kid herself to prevent future incidents. At number 8, toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. I'm not sure Forbes knows what self-made means, but this collaboration would allow Jenner's brand, previously only available online and at pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. Many employees at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products have been reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. I know they say beauty is pain, but I don't think this is what they meant. At number 7, Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie Jenner's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when Valero was interning as a personal assistant for Kris Jenner. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager and soon after became her personal assistant. Victoria and Jenner became very close over the years, and she was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter Stormi. You would think with being so close to the family, it would be through thick and thin, right? Well, all good things must come to an end as Victoria quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had quit to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being around that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life. Booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this is stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie even having Victoria pull out a stool and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as soon as possible. At number 6, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artists, Samuel Rhoda, with the post redirecting fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asked to donate money to cover his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman who got a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women list was asking her fans to donate some of their money. Why would Kylie herself not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't know each other on a personal level. She had worked with him a few years prior and thought he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money to most of us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. Something tells me the surgery would be a lot more than that. This is just another instance proving Kylie is the worst, because I know she would drop more than that on a purse. At number 5, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claimed that Kardashian failed to pay them overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks. The employees also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. Then, when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim argued that she couldn't be held responsible because most of her employees were apparently hired and paid through third-party companies, meaning Kim herself was technically not their direct employer and therefore cannot be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, Kardashian would have used her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff, and maybe she wouldn't have gotten sued by them. At number 4, Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and were officially married in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye's mental health was slowly slipping. He began posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets, as well as constantly sharing his political views and publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting SNL in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson while still married to Kanye. We'll cover their side in another entry. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show and seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently, only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. Following their divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly try to help Ye understand why his views and words were wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan and for Kanye. At number 3, they don't pay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait the family shares as a unit. They don't pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses including gas, food, rent. Everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on set paydays, meaning you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. At number 2, paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on a reality show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensation to Jenner, she responded with, "The company doesn't really have a budget right now, so we're going to have to pay you in exposure." Like, hey, that's cool, but you can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner, nor is it a currency accepted at most gas stations or banks. And by exposure, she meant Andre's name being in a small print underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take that exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. And at number 1, lied about their wealth. Oh, not enough proof for ya? Well, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. While it turns out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. This was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought. As it was uncovered, Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for the company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for the public. Mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom.
Number 10, worst of the bunch. Of all the members of the clan, Kendall Jenner has been consistently brought up as simultaneously the most relatable and the meanest. She may take up the most points on this list all by her lonesome. As the first and probably most minor complaint against her, a TikTok video where a fan recalled meeting Kim Kardashian in New York City also happened to throw shade at Kendall at the same time. In the video, the TikToker praised Kim for being, quote, the most polite celebrity I've ever met. Talking about the celebrities that she has met, the TikToker said, quote, including Kendall, who I can't say the same about. It was interesting how when the conversation was about Kendall specifically, the TikToker made note that, quote, Kendall could learn a thing or two. The post made its way to Reddit where other fans joined in on the conversation and their opinions on Kendall. One user wrote, Kendall has always just given me that reserved, wiry, shy but rude kind of vibe on the show. I wasn't sure if that was her in character. There was also one commenter that claimed to not know a single Keeping Up with the Kardashians fan who had a positive experience when meeting Kendall Jenner in real life. And here's an example of that very thing. Number 9, no tip for you. Back in 2014, a waitress accused Kendall Jenner of skipping out on a $60 bill and not leaving a tip. But wait, when the waitress allegedly chased after Kendall Jenner to get the money, Kendall turned around and threw cash in the woman's face and then laughed. It doesn't even sound like real life. The waitress then took to Twitter saying, quote, that horrible moment when you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face. Kendall did respond to the rumors, but by calling them ridiculous, and she then had her lawyers whip up a cease and desist letter to the server. Nothing kinda says guilt like an instant cease and desist letter. I wouldn't know, I'm just thinking that's what it's like. 3 years later though, Kendall was also not a good customer at a bar in Brooklyn when a server posted a since deleted picture of a bill for just $24 that Kendall had signed but left the tip field blank. Now Kendall responded to this one as well, but by saying that she paid it in cash, but the bar accused her of lying. What are your thoughts on tipping? I know that it's one of the main benefits of waiting tables or bartending, so to skip out on that for me is pretty vile. Number 8, Sugar Factory. All those many years ago, back in 2016, Kendall's younger sister, Kylie Jenner, was at the opening of Sugar Factory in Orlando, Florida. For her arrival, Kylie had around 3,000 of her fans waiting for her, only for them to apparently be disappointed. The official press release from Sugar Factory themselves, of course, had almost entirely positive things to say surrounding the opening and Kylie's participation in it, but one publication, Star Magazine, seemed to see things a little differently. Coming from an insider source, the magazine got reports that Kylie's appearance at the opening was actually, quote, a huge disappointment, and that apparently she was rude to the majority of her fans. Star Magazine stated that apparently the youngest of the Kardashians/Jenners apparently showed up to the event an hour late, and if that weren't bad enough, she only stayed for about 5 minutes to take a few selfies and then just dipped on out of there, leaving fans dissatisfied and disappointed. Number 7, fitness. For a period of time in like the mid-2010s, Khloé Kardashian was pretty heavily focused on her fitness and getting into shape. Hell yeah, we love living healthily. But going along with that time in her life, Khloé would often post her workouts on social media, specifically Snapchat, for fans to follow along to and get themselves in shape alongside the celebrity. But as usually is the case, there was criticism, and some fans didn't think the videos were all that good. Well, Khloé understandably snapped back on Snapchat in 2017. With the pottiest of potty mouths, she addressed the seemingly impossible to please fans, saying, quote, what bothers me so much about people is that I'm giving you guys my workouts on my snaps for free. She continued on, quote, why the F are you still complaining and saying, if I had a trainer, if I had a gym? Well, I don't have a gym. We're doing everything outside. I'm showing you guys how to do the workouts so you don't need a trainer. I'm using everything that I'm sure you guys have around the house or could improvise. What the F? To be completely honest, I actually kind of agree with her. To complain that the videos she made out to share her experience and to try and help people who want to work out aren't good enough is kind of just a little rude. But then again, she also said if only complaining burned calories, you guys would be some healthy I can't say the whole of the sentence, but you get what I'm saying? Kinda weighing it out. Number 6, nobodies. Now, we all need to just sit back and take this one with a little itty tiny bitty grain of salt. When a magazine uses the words insider source, more than half the time, it's just someone off the internet or someone who is not actually an insider, and therefore their statements cannot be taken as fact. It's also worth noting that most people have found Kim to be the nicest person of the family when meeting fans. But, that being said, Kim Kardashian allegedly calls her fans stupid little nobodies. According to Star magazine, in 2012, an insider source, quote unquote, told the publication that, quote, Kris has text and voicemails from Kim where she calls her audience gullible, ouch, stupid imbeciles, ooh, boring little nobodies, yikes, and pathetic people with no lives of their own. Mic drop. Ouch. My feelings are hurt. I'm not a fan, but my feelings are still hurt. Don't be so rude. If you didn't actually say those things though, I'm sorry. And you're great, Kim. You're a great person. Number 5. Well then, I'm sure that most of us can agree that social media, but specifically Twitter, is a cesspool of meme lords, trolls, and keyboard warriors. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Twitter is like a breeding ground for hot takes, upsetting political stances, taking shots at famous people who would never normally give you the time of day, and, apparently, wannabe sports commentators. Those very same sport fans found a way to both comment on the state of the Cleveland Cavaliers and take shots at Khloé Kardashian in one swift move. One Twitter user tweeted, presumably as a joke, quote, Cavs haven't been playing too well since Khloé Kardashian. Just saying. That's because Khloé had been in a toxic as hell relationship with Tristan Thompson, who was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the record though, it was Tristan that was the toxic one, but in defense of her boo and the team he plays for, Khloé decided to clap back, and in her well-worded rebuttal, Khloé tweeted, quote, they are #1 in their conference, but thanks for sucking my expletive. Hard enough to think I have that much power. Lick on my expletive while you're at it. I think we can all agree Khloé is truly a wizard of words. A true poet, I think. Very nice. Very good. Number 4, selfie. Last year, Hulu's Victoria's Secret documentary was available for the world to watch, but one clip from the documentary in particular caught some attention, and it was Kendall Jenner, back again, being a true Scorpio. It's a very short clip, but essentially the scene sees Kendall sitting on what looks like a makeup chair with a silk pink robe on, and a group of fans behind her. Basically, Kendall reaches back, takes a phone from one of the fans, snaps a couple selfies, and then hands it back. That's all that happened, but the whole thing was just so funny because, other than the brief moment where she smiled for the selfie, Kendall was not just straight-faced, but she had the stank face on. The one where you really just ain't there to even pretend to be nice to people. That kind of face. I feel like we all know what we're talking about. The fan looked like she was being silently told off when Kendall handed that phone back, and when Kendall turns back to camera with this annoyed eyebrow raise kind of thing, she looks like she wishes she would be anywhere else. Of course, the clip made its way to Twitter where people voiced their thoughts, like this one person who tweeted, quote, this clip of Kendall from the Hulu Victoria's Secret doc really says a lot about who she probably is. Someone on Reddit added, quote, that eyebrow raise and look of annoyance is irritating my soul. One more person did make a good point though when they wrote, it is actually disgusting. They forget that the fans are the reason they have what they have. And that is primarily kind of true, ain't it? Number 3, not in the mood. Now look, being a celebrity, having people wanting to take pictures with you all the time can be very exhausting, and celebrities have every right to say no when they don't want to take pictures with their fans. Point blank. Just as every person is allowed to say they don't want to pose for a picture. In an episode of Kourtney and Khloé Take the Hamptons, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick are off taking a casual ride through his childhood neighborhood in an old convertible. As is bound to happen, a few girls end up noticing them at a stop sign and they ask if they can take a picture with the stars. Scott was all for it, saying sure, but Kourtney quickly follows up with no! And they continued on with their drive through memory lane. Now Scott apologized to the fans saying, alright, sorry, she said no, as they drove off, and Scott is like, that's not very nice, and she explains she simply didn't want to get out of the car, and that she's, quote, not in the mood for a pic. Honestly, fair, she doesn't have to be, but I think she could have maybe been just a wee bit nicer about it. I don't know. What do you think? Number 2, best spot in the shade. Ever been asked to move so a celeb can take a photo shoot where you were comfortably chillin'? Well, a TikToker by the name of Lizudel called out Kim Kardashian for allegedly booting her out of this really chill area at Revolve Festival that was right by a lake with really nice grass, some decent shade, and had a fire pit. It was a good spot to get, but it was also a great spot for a photo shoot, and that's exactly what Kim wanted it for. The caption in the clip says, quote, right before before Kim K kicked us out of this shady chill spot at Revolve, with the caption accompanying the clips reading, "Much love to your photo shoot," which is kind of like passive aggressive, so obviously the TikToker was a little peeved about it, but to be completely fair, reactions in the comments were pretty mixed. Some folks agreed and thought that it was messed up for Kim Kardashian to ask anyone to move, but others made a good point. Kim was promoting the brand Revolve that were running the festival in the first place, so these fans reasoned that it's fair that Kim gets to choose where she wants the photos taken. One comment read, quote, "Well duh, they invited influencers. Nobody knows who you are, they're gonna make you move." And that actually seemed to make a little bit of sense to a lot of people and to me as well, to be perfectly honest, but at the same time, when an area is available publicly for everyone, being expected to move so that Kim Kardashian can take a photo, it kinda sucks. Number 1, even at the airport. We gotta end the list with Kendall Jenner yet again. I am so sorry. There are just so many more instances of Kendall being less than great with people as there are for any of the other Kardashians. As part of an ongoing series, a former LAX employee has been taking to TikTok, ranking her experiences with some of the many celebrities she's crossed paths with during her years working at the airport. Kendall Jenner was one of those celebrities, and the TikTok did not paint her in a great picture. The former employee described her interactions with Kendall saying, quote, "Every time she flew out, she was not really friendly to anybody and just walked around like really arrogant." Then she slapped Kendall with a 2 out of 10 rating. 2 is pretty good, right? It's 1 more than 1 and 2 more than 0, so I'd say that's something. This TikTok pretty heavily reminds me of the first and second point on this list. I promise I don't have anything against Kendall, she just seems to be the one who consistently gets called out for being a little unsavory with employees and general people. While it's possible these are just instances of negative experiences staffers had with Kendall, the consistency of the bad experiences, coupled with all that we have seen from Kendall and everyone else, doesn't paint a great picture of her or anyone's character.
Number 10. Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably one of the most famous of the Kardashian sisters, and it would also seem she's the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and even recently hopped on the podcast train. In addition to filming her new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all of that by herself? Well, she pays people to do it for her, duh. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by a nanny, but Kim would always make her nanny sit at a separate table far away from them when they were in restaurants. But she is known to make her nannies also walk at least like 10 feet away from her at all times. Unless she has multiple nannies with her at once, then she likes to make them stand in like a V formation because it looks cool apparently. If they walk near her or attempt to try and walk side by side, she blows up at them behind closed doors. And needless to say, she has had many nannies over the year and has probably made a lot of them cry at least once. Number 9. Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the prices of a chicken breast. Because, if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. At one time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit. But instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she actually berated the nanny and told her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Cause yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your child instead of the child itself, who's probably got some kind of an abandonment issue. Number 8. Toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-up stores to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. You see, many employees at the factory that mix and package her makeup have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. And workers would regularly report migraines, mild chemical burns on their hands, and a myriad of other symptoms. If this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but we can agree that using people like guinea pigs is like a billion times worse, right guys? Number 7. The underpay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that the family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages or overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses, meaning gas, food, rent, anything that you need is paid out of pocket, with zero money coming back to you. To make matters worse, the Kardashians wouldn't pay them on a set amount of days, meaning you just kinda gotta check when you gotta check and had to deal with it in between A and B. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. Now, while they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if that staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. Number 6. Factory workers. Popping back to Kylie's makeup factory for a moment, we felt the need to split her misdoings into 2 separate entries simply because of just how messed up this place really is. Not only do they not have proper safety equipment and are basically used as human test subjects whenever Kylie wants, the factory itself is small and cramped, with many employees claiming that there were too many workers and not enough space. This description sounds very similar to, a sweatshop, which is a word describing a workplace in which the employees work ridiculous hours and brutal conditions for nearly nothing for pay. And a lot of people agreed with that statement. One former tester recounts having to constantly go back and forth to the bathroom as her anxiety was always through the roof. She was around so many people so much of her day, and it was such a terrible work environment. We completely understand the need to escape. At one point a few years back, Kylie even refused to pay her employees at a garment factory in Bangladesh, leaving thousands of employees with no money and no idea when or if they were going to return to work. Man, you know what? You suck, Kylie. Number 5. Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when she was interning as a personal assistant for Kylie's mother, Kris. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager at first, but soon after became her personal assistant. Herself and Jenner became very close over the years, and Victoria was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter, Stormi. Now, you would think with being so close to the family through thick and thin that she would want to stick around, right? Well, all good things must come to an end, as Victoria decided to quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had just quit her job to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being in that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. And Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life, booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie having Victoria even pull out a stool once and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as quickly as possible. Number 4. Paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, a very famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on her reality TV show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensations to Jenner, she responded with, the company doesn't actually have a budget right now to pay you, so we're just gonna have to pay you in exposure. Like, okay, that's cool. You can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner though, and I'm pretty sure it's not currency accepted at any gas stations or banks that I know of. And of course, by exposure, she meant that Andre's name was going to be printed as small as possible underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take her exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. Number 3, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie, oh look, she's back again, shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup makeup artist named Samuel Rhoda. The post redirected fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asking to donate money for covering his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman made a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women and was asking her fans to give over the goods. So why would she not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills herself? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't actually know each other personally, but she had worked with him a few years ago and thought that he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated like $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money for us, but for Jenner that's like $5. So something tells me the surgery is going to be a little bit more than that. This is just another instance proving that Kylie is the absolute worst. Number 2, Forbes flub. Oh, I'm sorry, was that not enough proof for you that Kylie sucks? Well, hey, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand, named after herself, and Ulta, a beauty salon company. Well, it turned out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now, this was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to like Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turned out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought, as it was uncovered Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for her company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for publicity's sake. The mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom. And number 1, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claim Kardashian West failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, or provide any legally mandated breaks, which, like, hey, super illegal. They also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. And when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all of their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim's argument was that she could not be held responsible for any of this, as most of her employees were supposedly hired and paid by a third-party company, meaning that she herself was not technically their direct employer and therefore could not be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, maybe Kardashian would have used some of her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff so that, hey, maybe she wouldn't be getting sued right now. Something to think about, Kim.